Friday Pro Gambler. Chris Adamson in the near lane. Charlie Johnson in the far lane. And the win to Chris Adamson over here on the near side. Dead on with a 9. 423 with a 9 on a 23 dial. Charlie went 450 with a 5 on a 54. So Charlie under by 4 numbers. Charlie had just run dead on 2 passes in a row and picked up a little bit there. And Chris Adamson's going to the final round in the Friday Pro Gambler here at Avenal Sand Drags. And he'll face the winner of Kenny Hayes versus Stacy Bolton. We're waiting for Stacy to come back around. Looks like they're towing her up to the front of the lanes right now. So it'll be Kenny Hayes and Stacy Bolton. The winner of that will race Chris Adamson for the big money here today. $1,600 to win day here for the winner. So Kenny Hayes will be in the near lane, Stacy Bolton in the far lane. Kenny Hayes got by Chris Wells last round, really good race. They both were dialed 355. Kenny was closer to the dial, he went 57 to Chris's 58. Awesome race between those two. And now it's Stacy Bolton's turn to face off with Kenny. Stacy beat Chris Pintor in the last round. Stacy's dialed in at 475. Kenny's in at 355, so 1.2 second head start going to Stacy. And the win to Kenny Hayes, 359 on the 55 dial. Stacy went too quick. She broke up by 9 thousandths of a second, 474.1 on the 75. Looked like she lifted a little bit on the other end, but was unable to take the win. So it'll be Kenny Hayes versus Chris Adamson in the Friday Pro Gambler final round. So you're watching the National Sand Drag News live stream presented by Avenal Sand Drags this weekend. 300-foot sand drag racing here in Central California. Avenal is about halfway between Bakersfield and Fresno. So we finished up qualifying earlier for the heads-up classes. They only got one session in today. Jim Hammond's your #1 qualifier in top alcohol with a 250. Really nice looking run for Jim. Start off the weekend. Top eliminator, Paul Taylor, went 296 with an 8 to lead the pack. We had a lot of guys set on kill. We had 3 of them, as a matter of fact, that went 294, 100th quicker than the 295 index. So We'll see if these guys can trim it back a little bit for tomorrow's action. So what we got left is the final round for the Friday Pro Gambler, and then we're going into the 395 index class. The return of 395 index here. It used to be a fixture out here on the West Coast, and bringing it back. A lot of interest, a lot of guys in the staging lanes. Getting ready for the first qualifying session. They're going to do 2 qualifiers for 395. And then we'll go into first round. Once the tractor clears, it's getting close, we'll be ready for the 395 index, or for the Friday Pro Gambler final. $423 the dial for Chris Adamson, $355 for Kenny Hayes. Chris Adamson gets the win. 424 on the 23 dial. Kenny Hayes went 360 on the 55. So Chris Adamson closer to his dial and turns that into a win light. So Chris Adamson's your winner in the Friday Pro Gambler. Awesome job by Chris and the Bounty Hunter crew there. Now it's time for 395 index round 1 qualifying. Looks like it's going to be Adam Ross in the 59 Chevy truck. He'll be up against Justin Adamson. Justin Adamson goes 393 on the far side, but all the excitement was over here on the near side as Adam Ross went out of bounds, we'll say. Adam kept it upright. He drove it outside of the sensor, so there's no timing system issues, but he knocked down about half dozen cones down there. A little bit of a ride. But all is good for Adam Ross there. He had the front end up and stayed in it. So Justin Adamson 393, he'll back it down a little for the next run here in qualifying. Next up, it'll be Richard Ross in the 91 step side Chevy pickup up against Kevin Williams. Kevin Williams is going to be one to watch here in this 395 deal. He's went 399 and 4 flat pretty much every pass he's made today, so he's going to be very tough in this category. Cones are set back in place and we're ready for the next pair. And they're giving the signal to fire up. Kevin Williams on the far side goes 401, 413 for Richard Ross. So 401's your number one qualifier for the moment here in the 395 index class. Very nice run by Kevin Williams. Next up is going to be Charlie Johnson in the Mopar Power Jeep. And Charlie will be up against Grant Frazier in the Humbler. Grant's first pass of the weekend. Johnson goes 419 here on the left side. Grant Frazier, he hasn't pulled it back for the 95 class yet. He goes 346 at 90 miles an hour, 96 miles an hour. So 346 at 96 for Grant, 419 for Charlie Johnson. And it's time to clean the track. So Kevin Williams still #1 qualifier at a 401 here in the 395 index class.
How you doing, brother man? Not for the lack of trying.
All right, so we're getting ready for the next group of cars to come out. You're watching the National Sanddrag News live stream presented by Avenal Sandrags. 2017 Avenal Sandrags. Whoops, we flipped her around. 2017 Avenal Sandrags Fall Nationals. Oh, yeah, I can read the comments finally. Temperature, it's probably in the mid-60s right now. It's starting to cool off pretty good. It only got up to about 70 today, if that, with a pretty strong wind. Big shout out to everybody checking in. I see Kyle Farwick's on here, the king of the outlaw himself. Shout out to Tony McButhy checking in from the big city of Kalamazoo. Mickey Hall from Bosque Farms, New Mexico. And the sand bomber himself, Jeff Liston's on here. So shout out to everybody checking in tonight. We're in round 1 qualifying for 395 index. Going to be Chris Adamson and Cuz's Ben's Revenge Land Cruiser up against Dave Stidham in the Grinch. Chris Adamson over here on the near side goes 417. Dave Stidham goes 350 with a 0. That would be good for 350 index, but we're running 395 here today. Next up will be Sean Thompson and the Terminator in the near side. And I'm extra the ride on the far side. New Chevy Love Truck over there. First time we've seen him out here at Avenal Sandrag. Sean Thompson goes 418. 458 for the truck over on the far side. Next up is going to be Chris Pintor here in the near lane and Kenny Hayes over on the far side. And Kenny Hayes goes 377 on the far side. Chris Pintor 381. So we got a couple more on the fast side. Eliminations are going to be pretty wild, you guys. A few guys on the fast side and a few guys on the slow side. Not many right on the number. Joe Simeone up next in the far lane. And Chris Calafiore over here on the near side. Joe Simeone on the far side goes 404, number 2 qualifier. 410 for Chris Calafiore to go to the number 3 qualifying spot. Couple of nice runs there. So Kevin Williams, your number 1 qualifier so far with a 401. Was it Chris Pintor maybe? That's what I'm thinking. Looks like we got Steve Foster in the lanes. That's a many-time 395 index class winner back in the day. And Chris Wells is over there also. Really, really nice turnout for a 395 index class tonight. Nice evening going here in Central California. We wrap up action here today. One thing we are getting close to, unfortunately, we're getting tight on time here. You see the sun going down over there. We don't have lights here. So, yeah. I have to go through this 395 index class pretty quick. Wondered about that. According to Damon Hall, Crazy Train broke a wheel earlier today. We saw Anthony Brown was in the Crazy Train Jeep, and as he was turning off the track, the wheel came off. So thankfully he was slowed down enough, everything stayed upright, didn't have any issues. But anybody in the pits that has a wheel or a set of wheels or tires or something that could help get them back in action, be sure to head over to the Browns pits. They are, I believe they're on the front row towards the end down there. Right down towards the end of the pit area on the front row. I'll make sure to have Dan the Man, our announcer, put that out there, and I'll put a post up as well for anybody that has an extra wheel here at the track to get a hold of them. Great to see the Brown family making the trip from Albuquerque all the way out here. this weekend. Kind of a crazy day here. We had they predicted a lot of wind for today, and it hasn't been that bad. It started out with a bunch of wind overnight, which actually knocked the power out to the city of Avenal. So there was no power here at the track this morning. I actually had to start time trials running everything off of generators, and then the power was restored about noontime. And everything's been all good since, but we had the wheel issue with the brown Jeep, and then we had, I believe a couple pairs later, Chris Calafiore had a wild ride, and I don't know how he saved it, but he saved it. It was up on two wheels at least 2 times, if not 3 times, and it was pretty wild. But as you saw, he just made a pass a few minutes ago, so Chris's Jeep is A-okay, and calming her down a little bit here. We're getting ready to finish out this first time trial for the 395 index class. If anybody can get closer to the index. I believe these two coming up are the only two that haven't made a pass yet. He's Steve Foster here in the near lane in the Impatient Jeep. And it's Chris Wells in the V8 buggy out of Washington. So 362 for Chris Wells, 409 for Steve Foster. So 409 to put Foster in the third spot. Now we're going to have Adam Ross and Justin Adams for their second run. Breakout on both sides. Justin Adamson goes 393. Adam Ross goes 384 at 85 miles an hour. Awesome hit for the 59 Chevy. 393 for Justin, 384 for Adam Ross. So next up's your current #1 qualifier, Mr. Bennett Kevin Williams. Over here on the near side of the orange Jeep. He'll be up against Sean Thompson in the Terminator. And Kevin Williams goes 4.00 with a 4. The better his #1 qualifying spot. Sean Thompson wheelied, went to the left and pedaled it to a 4.74. Next up will be Kenny Hayes in the near lane, Charlie Johnson in the far lane. And Kenny Hayes still on the fast side with a 379. Charlie Johnson picks up to a 414. So we'll clean the track and come back with the last few pairs in 395 index qualifying here at the 2017 Avenal Sandbags Fall Nationals.
Checklist. Not good. Pros and cons. Oh, we're over on the con list right now.
Well, and it wasn't
No, it was doing that as well. So I figured, okay. Oh yeah, yeah, mine out here. No, I'm really good.
No, are you cold yet? Getting there. Next set of cars here in 395 qualifying. Looks like you got Super Dave. Dave Stidham over on the far side. Made the long drive down from Washington. He'll be up against Chris Adamson in Cousins Ride over here, Spencer Bench entry. 393 with an 8. Little bit too quick there on that one. 393.8, right? Dave Stidham, he drove it to about 3/4 check and lifted to a 381. The next up, Richard Ross on the far side, Joe Simeone in the near lane. Joe Simeone goes 391. A little too quick. Unfortunately, Richard Ross, he broke something right there at the hit. It spun and broke something in the drive line. So not a good deal there for Richard Ross in the 91 Ross Racing pickup. Next up, the Chris Calafiore and Chris Pinto. Finish up 395 index qualifying. Give a big shout out to everybody checking in on the live stream here. Tony D'Annunzio, how you doing, my friend? We are we only got about 4 cars left. 400 with a 4 is your number 1 qualifier so far. We'll see if somebody can slide it in there. Looks like we got Chris Pintor, Chris Calafiore, Chris Wells. We have 3 Chris's, and Steve Foster left in the lead. Chris Calafiore in the near lane, and Chris Pintor in the far lane. 385 for Chris Pintor on the far side. Chris Calafiore goes 4:00 with a 7. Misses the number 1 qualifying spot by 0.03 of a second. Best run of the day though for Chris Calafiore. He struggled with handling issues. That one was straight as an arrow though, so great run for Chris. Lastly, Chris Wells making the trip into Washington up against Steve Foster over on the far side in the Invasion seat. Chris Wells goes 369. He's got to kill a couple tenths there first round. 4:08 for Steve Foster and the Impatient team. The last entry we got is the Chevy Love truck. Unsure of the driver's name here. Let's go check that out. He put his helmet on there, ready to go. First time we've seen this ride here at Avenal. After this run, we're going to go out the live stream for a few minutes, and we'll come back with first round of 395 index once everybody's paired up and ready to go. There'll be a few minutes to print the ladder off and whatnot, and I need a couple minute break, so. The number for the Love truck. And that's it for qualifying. 4004 for Kevin Williams, your number 1 qualifier in 395 index. We'll be back here in a few minutes for 395 index first round elimination. So we're going to take a short break. You've been watching the National Sand Drag News live stream presented by Avenal Sand Drags. We'll be back in just a little bit. Be sure to keep an eye on our Facebook page so you see when we go live. Thank you guys.